heartbreaking update that nobody wanted to hear, that nobody wanted to believe, and yet it shook the entire wrestling world to its core. Bianca Belair stood in front of the WWE Universe and announced the unthinkable, the shocking passing of her husband, Montez Ford, after suffering a sudden heart attack. The moment the words left her mouth, the air was ripped out of the arena. Silence. Stunned, painful silence. Thousands of fans sat frozen in disbelief, while millions more at home felt their hearts sink. It wasn't just news, it was devastation. A tragedy that reached far beyond wrestling. Because Montez Ford wasn't just a WWE superstar. He wasn't just one half of the Street Profits. He wasn't just a tag team champion or a performer who lit up every arena with energy, charisma, and joy. Montez Ford was a heartbeat of WWE's future, a man whose smile was contagious, whose presence was larger than life, and whose chemistry with Bianca Belair was undeniable. Together, they weren't just a couple, they were an inspiration. A symbol of love, strength, and partnership both inside and outside the ring. And now, in one cruel, unthinkable moment, that story has been shattered. Bianca Belair, standing in the middle of that ring, tears streaming down her face, her voice breaking with every syllable, delivered words that no wife should ever have to say. My husband, Montez Ford, is gone. The rawness of that confession, the way her body shook as the pain poured out of her, it was unbearable to watch, and yet impossible to look away from. The crowd, normally loud and rowdy, was dead silent. Some fans buried their faces in their hands. Others openly wept in the stands. Commentators struggled to speak. And backstage, WWE superstars and staff were seen crying, hugging, trying to process the nightmare unfolding in real time. This wasn't just another wrestling angle. This wasn't a scripted rivalry or a storyline betrayal. This was real. This was tragedy. This was a human moment that cut through the spectacle of WWE and reminded everyone watching that these performers, these larger-than-life characters, are real people with real lives, real love, and real pain. And Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE, the strongest, the fastest, the toughest, in that moment, she was simply a grieving wife, shattered before our eyes, her entire world torn away. What makes this even more gut-wrenching is the way it happened. Montez Ford, only 34 years old, vibrant, healthy, in the prime of his career, suffered a heart attack that nobody saw coming. A man known for his energy, his athleticism, his boundless charisma, suddenly gone in an instant. It doesn't make sense. It feels cruel. It feels unfair. And that's why fans all over the world are struggling to process it. Social media exploded with shock and heartbreak as the news spread. Fellow WWE superstars from across brands and generations flooded timelines with tributes, photos, and messages of love for Montez and support for Bianca. Because if there's one thing everyone knew, it's that Bianca and Montez were inseparable. Their love wasn't just something you saw in backstage interviews or on reality TV. It was something you felt every single time they were around each other. The way he looked at her, the way she smiled at him, it was real, it was powerful, and it was something that gave fans hope that true love could exist even in the cutthroat world of wrestling. And now, Bianca has to face the unthinkable reality of life without him. The locker room went silent as soon as the news broke. Superstars who normally joke and compete with each other froze in shock. Faces that are used to masks of confidence and bravado fell slack with disbelief. Some veterans, like Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, could barely hold back tears. Younger stars, many who looked up to Montez as a mentor and friend, sat silently, their heads in their hands, trying to comprehend how someone so full of life could be gone in an instant. The WWE Universe wasn't just watching, they were feeling it. Fans across the globe shared the heartbreak, flooding social media with hashtag RIP Montez Ford and hashtag Stay Strong Bianca. Thousands of messages poured in from people who had never even met Montez in real life, but whose lives he touched through his performances, his infectious energy, and the love he shared openly with Bianca. Every clip of Montez dancing down the ramp, every highlight of him and Bianca's playful interactions backstage, suddenly became bittersweet memories. Fans watched, paused, and replayed moments they had cherished, now with the sting of loss making each smile, each laugh, each victory unbearably painful. Bianca Belair's announcement was just the beginning. Behind the scenes, WWE staff scrambled to support her, to give her the space to grieve, to make sure she wasn't left alone in the midst of one of the most devastating moments any superstar could face. Coaches, trainers, and fellow wrestlers hovered around her, wrapping her in embraces, whispering words of comfort. But even surrounded by the people who love her most in the industry, the raw pain of her loss was impossible to mask. And the heartbreak didn't stop there. As news spread outside WWE, the wrestling community erupted in grief and solidarity. Social media exploded with tributes from legends and current stars alike, Bianca's former rivals and allies, Montez's peers, and even icons who never competed directly with him shared personal stories and heartfelt condolences. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson posted a moving message, emphasizing Montez's legacy both as a performer and as a human being. Sasha Banks, Kevin Owens, and Carmella were among the many who reflected on Montez's charisma, his energy, and the joy he brought to everyone around him. Fans noticed something even more heartbreaking. Bianca, known for her strength, for never backing down, for embodying the EST of WWE, seemed almost fragile in that moment. She spoke with a trembling voice, trying to convey both her grief and her love for Montez, struggling to hold herself together while knowing millions were watching, all sharing her pain. Every word she spoke felt like it carried the weight of the world, each syllable a testament to the bond they shared and the life that had been stolen too soon. And yet, through the tears, through the despair, Bianca's message was clear: Montez Ford's memory would live on. He had touched too many lives, inspired too many people, and left too powerful a legacy for anyone to forget him. Fans didn't just feel sorrow, they felt a responsibility to honor him, to remember the laughter, the moments of joy, and the brilliance he brought both in and out of the ring. But the question that lingers over the wrestling world is one that hits deep: how does someone continue after a loss like this? How does Bianca step back into the ring, into the life they built together, knowing Montez is no longer by her side? And what does WWE do to honor not only the man who entertained millions but the husband who inspired and loved so fiercely? Because this isn't just wrestling news. This is a human tragedy. A moment that transcends storylines and championships. It's real, raw, unforgiving, and it's something that will echo through WWE history forever. In the days following the announcement, Bianca Belair retreated from public appearances to process the unimaginable loss. But even in her absence, her voice carried through social media, through the wrestling world, and into the hearts of fans everywhere. Her posts were raw, unfiltered, filled with both grief and love. Every picture of her and Montez, every caption, every short message made it clear: she had lost not just a husband, but a partner, a teammate, a best friend. Fans poured in support like a tidal wave. Wrestling accounts shared compilations of Montez's most memorable moments, from the first Street Profits tag team match to his championship wins, to the countless smiles he shared with Bianca backstage and on camera. Each clip, each highlight, reminded people of the man he was, full of life, humor, and passion. Social media timelines filled with tributes, hashtags trending worldwide, fans across continents mourning together. Bianca herself posted a photo of them together, smiling, radiant, full of hope. Her caption was simple but haunting: "Forever my heart, forever my love. Rest in peace, Montez." That one line broke the internet. People couldn't stop sharing it, commenting, crying. Even WWE superstars couldn't resist. Legends like The Undertaker, John Cena, and Triple H reached out privately and publicly, offering condolences, showing that even those who had seen it all were shaken by this sudden loss. The wrestling community collectively felt the pain because Montez was more than a performer. He was a friend, a motivator, a source of positivity in an often unforgiving business. Fellow Street Profits partner Angelo Dawkins expressed his heartbreak publicly, saying he had lost a brother, a teammate, a family member. The emotion in his voice, the tears streaming down his face during interviews, reminded fans that this tragedy wasn't just for show, it was very real. Bianca's courage became a beacon during this dark time. Despite her grief, she made it clear that Montez's legacy would live on, not only through memories but through action. She urged fans to honor his life by being kind, by supporting loved ones, and by remembering that even the strongest people can have their worlds ripped away in an instant. Her words resonated with millions, creating a sense of community bound by loss, empathy, and respect. Inside WWE, the company scrambled to figure out how to respectfully honor Montez while allowing Bianca the space she needed. Plans for tributes on SmackDown and Raw were made, including video packages showcasing his greatest moments, moments that captured not just his wrestling ability, but his personality, his heart, and his joy. Wrestlers volunteered to speak about him, sharing personal stories from behind the scenes that fans would never see on TV, ensuring his memory was honored properly. And yet, even with tributes and messages, the grief was palpable. Every camera cut to Bianca backstage, every lingering clip of Montez in highlights, reminded fans that the world had lost someone truly special. His energy, his laughter, his spirit, gone. And for Bianca, for WWE, for fans, it was a heartbreak that didn't fade. The question now looms over everyone: how does Bianca continue in the ring, in her career, in her life, without Montez? How does she channel the love, the inspiration, and the partnership they shared into something that honors him while also moving forward? Every match she participates in, every promo she delivers, will now carry the weight of loss, and fans are holding their breath, waiting to see how the EST of WWE navigates this unimaginable tragedy. Montez Ford's passing isn't just another news story. It's a human story, one that reminds everyone that life is fragile, that joy can be stolen in an instant, and that love, even when lost, leaves an imprint that can never be erased. And Bianca Belair, through her heartbreak, reminds the world of the power of love, grief, and resilience, even in the harshest of circumstances. WWE has a long history of honoring their fallen stars, but Montez Ford's passing hit differently. He wasn't a legend from decades ago, he was in his prime, full of life, at the top of his game. That made the heartbreak rawer, more immediate, and impossible to ignore. Plans for tribute packages began almost immediately. Video montages were prepared, showing Montez's most electrifying moments: high-flying dives, tag team triumphs with Angelo Dawkins, championship victories, and his infectious smile that could light up any arena. Commentators spoke with reverence, sharing stories from behind the scenes about his generosity, his dedication, and his bond with Bianca. Each word, each clip, served as a reminder not just of his talent, but of the man he was. The WWE Universe watched, tears in their eyes, as the video packages played during Raw and SmackDown. Fans filled arenas and social media with signs and messages: "Rip Montez Ford, Forever Street Profits, Bianca, stay strong." The response was overwhelming, a global outpouring of grief and support. But the tribute wasn't just about celebrating Montez, it was also about supporting Bianca. WWE ensured she had time to grieve privately but also allowed her to share her thoughts publicly. She delivered a heartfelt in-ring message, speaking directly to fans, her voice breaking yet resolute. "Montez wasn't just my husband. He was my partner in life, my inspiration, my heart. I will carry his love and his memory in everything I do, every match, every moment." The arena erupted in applause, a collective embrace from millions of fans witnessing her strength through grief. Behind the scenes, wrestlers reached out privately. Friends, colleagues, and even rivals offered words of comfort. Angelo Dawkins, in particular, became a pillar of support for Bianca, sharing memories of Montez and ensuring she knew she wasn't alone. Legends like The Rock, John Cena, and Sasha Banks publicly acknowledged the tragedy, offering both condolences and encouragement. Fans were also reminded of Montez's impact beyond the ring. Social media posts highlighted his charitable efforts, his dedication to mentorship, and the joy he brought to fans of all ages. Stories of Montez visiting children's hospitals, encouraging young wrestlers, and lifting spirits backstage painted a picture of a man whose legacy was as much about kindness and love as it was about athletic excellence. For Bianca, the path forward was uncertain. Her grief was enormous, but she also knew that Montez would want her to continue, to excel, to honor his memory by being the best she could be. WWE offered her support and reassurance, signaling that her journey was being respected and that the company would allow her to process her loss while finding a way to keep performing. The emotional weight of this tragedy also resonated with fans worldwide. Messages poured in from all corners, many sharing personal stories of love and loss, creating a community of support. Wrestling forums, social media platforms, and live event audiences became spaces of empathy and remembrance. Fans weren't just mourning Montez, they were sharing grief, solidarity, and hope alongside Bianca. And through all of this, one undeniable truth emerged: Montez Ford's legacy would never fade. The memories, the energy, the joy, the love he shared with Bianca and the world, it was immortal. His life, though tragically cut short, would continue to inspire, to uplift, and to remind everyone of the power of passion, resilience, and connection. Bianca Belair, in her heartbreak, became a symbol of that legacy. She reminded everyone watching that grief can coexist with strength, that love endures beyond loss, and that even in the darkest moments, hope and courage can shine through.